In a small roadside community 140 kilometers northeast of Prince George, an evolution is taking place. A First Nation community is building a strong regional economy that will benefit not only themselves, but also their neighbors. And a young first-time chief is helping lead the way.
The community wants to see progress. They want to see the gas station. They want to see the infrastructure and the youth center and the facilities that any other community would have. And we can get there now because we have the economic base. We have the cash flows that are going to come to McLeod Lake Indian Band and be there for the long term.
The McLeod Lake Indian Band belonged to the Sicannie tribal group. They were a nomadic hunting people who controlled the basins of the Parsnip and Finley rivers and the valley of the Peace River in northeastern BC. The traditional Sicannie way of life was based on hunting and gathering. Living on the edge of the Rocky Mountains, they are known as the People of the Rocks. Their language is Athapascan and belongs to the Beaver Sarcee Sicannie branch, and is slowly eroding due to European contact.
But that's my job to try and bring it back, and we do have a plan to do that. We want to start cultural camps and start bringing back those old traditions and to work with the elders and work to that community unity.
Pre-contact Sicannie commerce relied on trade with neighboring First Nations. They lived off the land and traded goods derived from the land. While a new world exists for the Sicannie, the trade culture is still important for their survival. This time, however, they are using different resources from their land with others, and they are making sure they fully benefit.
For two reasons. I mean, the stable economic base and the different revenue flows and the cash flows that we have that coming into our community are going to let us are going to stabilize us for the long term. We'll be able to weather the peaks and the valleys and the economic cycles that are before our people, and to make sure that when the challenging times come, like as in 2008 when we had to cut budgets by over 44%, never ever happens again.
In British Columbia, alternative energy production is contributing to a green economy. The Bear Mountain Wind Farm near Dawson Creek produces electricity to power 31,000 homes. It's all made possible through a 25-year sales contract with BC Hydro. A similar project was begun by Earth First Canada near Chetwynd in 2008. But 6 months after it had begun construction, its financial backer pulled out and shut the project down. Millions were left owing to several companies, including the McLeod Lake Indian Band.
One of our companies had fallen prey to a opportunity where they were too far extended, and there was an account receivable of $4 million that we didn't collect for over a year. And not only to make things worse, the world economic downturn come. And in addition to that, we had a trust fund that was deficient. So there was no money to be had. And when there's no money, you can't move.
It took a year for the project to come back online and for creditors to get paid. In the meantime, the chief and council made some very tough decisions to keep things afloat.
We did everything we could. Like I said, we cut budgets by 44%, scaled back to a 4-day work week. It wasn't because we wanted to, it's because we had to. We were in survival mode.
And when you have decisions where you're making more decisions for a whole community rather than just your family, you want to make the best of it, because the decisions that you make are going to affect you as well. Not just everybody else, but it's going to affect you, your children, your elders, people who are important to you.
Today, what could have been a disaster for the band has turned into gold. In Phase 1 of the Doki Wind Project, Duzcho Construction brought in $20 million of work. The next phase of the project could see the same or even more money earned by the company. Derek and his council have renewed their relationship with the Doki project that could lead to an even bigger opportunity. A joint venture with Leadcore will enable the McLeod Lake Indian Band to bid on an EPC contract in Phase 2. Valued at around $400 million, the band could earn 15% of it, or $60 million.
We don't have any authority in British Columbia to direct award tenure to anyone other than a First Nations community or an actual city or town, something of that nature.
It was this clause in the BC Forest Act that helped revitalize Mackenzie and allowed the McLeod Lake Indian Band to strengthen its own logging company. The pulp mill had been closed down since 2007, throwing 250 people out of work. Another 250 indirect jobs were lost as well. Mackenzie was on the verge of disappearing, a victim of BC's failing forest industry.
We went from a place where we had 2 sawmills, a pulp mill, a newsprint mill, finger joint plant, all working on 2 or 3 shifts, producing high-value products, to a place where we had literally no employment.
Local, regional, or even provincial economies cannot exist by themselves. Trade of service and goods require a buyer as well as a seller. When Mackenzie shut down, the companies that relied on the town's industries suffered as well. So too did Does Cho Logging. Something had to be done to preserve a company that had lost almost $1 million.
So Derek really came to the rest of us and said, I'd like to help, I'd like to be part of the solution, and that's what really opened up many of the opportunities that we capitalized on.
Derek and his council, along with 3 other partners, had invested $150,000 each to keep the pulp mill warm and pay wages for caretaker employees. It preserved the mill as a viable asset and gave them time to look for a new buyer. Attracting a new owner for the pulp mill required making sure it had access to a stable fiber supply. The province directly awarded 4 million cubic meters to the McLeod Lake Indian Band over a 5-year period. The supply comes up for renewal every 5 years to a total of 20 years. There was the stable fiber needed, and a buyer for the mill was soon found in Europe.
250 people are back to work, as well as another 250 indirect jobs, and some of those are our people, and they have a job, because at the end of the day it's about providing that home, food and education and all that other stuff, and if you don't have the means to do that, it's difficult to do.
The benefits for the McLeod Lake Indian Band are numerous with the Mackenzie Pulp Mill's startup. Does Cho Logging is projected to earn about $1.4 million in 2010 and about $3.4 million in 2011. The band earns a royalty from pulp, saw logs, and power poles that can earn between $500,000 to $750,000 a year. Not a bad return for an initial investment of $150,000. This is downtown Denver in Colorado. Located 2,800 kilometers from McLeod Lake, it is the home of Thompson Creek Metals. The U.S. mining company is the new owner of the Mount Milligan copper gold deposit.
We were attracted to Mount Milligan in part because we felt the terrain people had done such an excellent job of designing this facility in every way, in the technological way, in terms of the way the mine was designed, in terms of the way they looked at cost. The milling facility thought was very good, the tailings was very limited, but also because of the way they handled the environmental issues.
Derek and his council have reached across vast distance to ensure the interests of the McLeod Lake Indian Band are protected. Terrain was selling its asset, and the council needed to make sure the new owners would recognize the band's rights and agreements.
Generally speaking, I think we understand what the McLeod Lake Band is looking for in a partnership with someone developing a mine like that. I think they've been very good at representing their interests, and we have a fair agreement which both sides will profit from going forward.
Chief Orr, on behalf of Thompson Creek Metals Company, I'm happy to present you on behalf of the McLeod Lake Indian Band with this check from Terrain Metals Corporation in the amount of $1 million.
Thank you.
Thompson Creek Metals will give the McLeod Lake Indian Band $26 million over 23 years, the expected life of the mine. But a recent revenue-sharing agreement with the province is even more impressive, which will see the band getting between $30 to $80 million from mining taxes. There is further value to the band in the form of contracting opportunities for logging and mine construction. That's expected to raise another $20 to $30 million. And the agreement spells out detailed training programs for band members. Derek and his council have ensured the band is fully benefiting from the mine development. But they haven't forgotten one of the most important concerns for band members.
There's been people say that we're not watching the environment. However, with the Mount Milligan, we have two of our band members that'll be employed there as environmental monitors. Wesley Chinji and Vincent Chinji, would you please stand up?
In 2008, the bottom fell out for the McLeod Lake Indian Band. They felt the harsh reality of the world's financial marketplace, but hard work and dedication to finding solutions has paid off.
We were so close to being set back 30 years, but it was our team, the staff, the membership, our leadership, our councils, our advisors. It was a team effort that got us to here, and that's the real joy.
Being a young chief has brought some criticism from within the band's membership. It's easy to be critical when you're on the outside looking in, but those who have worked with Derek have a different insight on his leadership.
I've appreciated being part of this team because Derek's been a good leader to do this. Each member, again, has brought their own stuff together of their puzzle, and we've put it together. Is it 100%? I don't think it's 100%, but I think envisioning for the future and working ahead, I think there is a lot of difference. So.
I give him credit for the way he's approached everything, and it's been really tough. I've seen him in the down and outs of the last 3 years, and I've seen him on top of the world, and I think he needed to go and get a sense of not everything being the perfect pie.
He's actually out there doing all the work for the people, and all the decisions that he has to make it's not his decision. He's doing it for McLeod Lake itself.
I think Derek's been a very strong leader for McLeod Lake. He certainly is entrepreneurial and looking for new opportunities, but he also cares about the environment and about his constituent base, all the members of the McLeod Lake Indian Band.
It's wonderful to hear that, because I don't often hear that kind of stuff, and when it does, it just makes me want to work harder and do more, hey? And that's the gift. That's the gift right there, to make a difference in someone's life like that. What greater gift is there?
Look around Sekani territory and you will notice things are busy. The communities of Mackenzie, Chetwynd, McLeod Lake, and Bear Lake are thriving. That's because a First Nation chose to work with their neighbors for mutual benefit. In the end, the future looks very bright for the McLeod Lake Indian Band, and perhaps for its first-time leader.